Clausen, and today I'm going to do a gentle yoga practice. So we're going to start seated, and you can go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Maybe you want to go ahead and sit on a blanket or a pillow to prop your hips up. Then once you're there, I just want you to go ahead and just slowly kind of connect in with the body. So maybe take a few deep breaths. And just kind of notice where your mind's at. There's no judging, just noticing. And just slowly start to focus on the breath. Maybe you start to count an inhale for a count of 4. And as you exhale, you breathe out for a count of 6. You gently let the eyes close. Continuing with that breath pattern. Letting the shoulders sink down. Feeling that space between your ears and your shoulders start to widen. Feel your sits bones connected to the floor. Let the weight of the legs and the torso release. Notice if you're squeezing any part of your body, and just gently let that relax. Notice if you're pulling your belly in. And you just release on your next exhale. Continue with making that breath 2 counts longer with the exhale. Start to draw your awareness towards the top of your head. Without moving, just notice, is your head a little bit farther in front of your body, or is it in back aligned with your spine? So if it is not in line with your spine, just go ahead and sit back just a little bit. Pull your head back, pull your shoulders back. As if there was one string from the top of your head connecting you all the way down through the floorboards to the sits bones, to the center of the earth. Next, draw your awareness to your shoulders. Can you pull your shoulders down and back just a little bit more? We have a tendency to round forwards and jut our head forwards. So we're just trying to pull back and get into alignment. It might not be very comfortable at first, especially if you're not used to pulling your shoulders back. You're going to feel that stretch across the chest. Just notice and witness what's going on as you're pulling back and paying attention to each body part. Next, we're going to go ahead and come to our hips. And noticing, are we sitting evenly between the left and the right hip? Are you sinking your weight to one side more so than the other? And now, with the next exhale, just go ahead and take those legs straight, noticing which leg was on top. We're going to go ahead and crisscross our legs, but we're going to flip which leg was on top. So if it feels the same, it probably is the same direction you just had. Or if it feels a little uncomfortable, then you probably got them switched. And after you switch, we're actually going to start at the hips. Notice how your hips are sitting with the other leg now on top. Does that change your posture at all? Finding that balance in the hips. Bringing our awareness up to the shoulders. Pulling those shoulders back once more. And then bringing awareness up to the head, making sure that chin is pulled back and we're in one straight line. And now on our exhale, we're going to go ahead and open those eyes up. Arms are going to lift up and overhead, reaching nice and tall. We're going to slide that left arm down our mat. Right arm is going to go up and overhead, just getting a nice side body stretch. Now you might stay here, or maybe you come down onto a block with that forearm, or maybe your forearm connects to the floor. Whichever one that you choose though, make sure the opposite sits bones is staying connected to the ground. And with that exhale, open through that side body, pull that shoulder down your back, and then gently look up underneath your arm. 2 more deep exhales here. Taking an inhale, exhale, coming back up to center. Arms can reach up and overhead. And then we're going to go ahead and slide that right arm down the mat. Again, connecting to the forearm, to a block, to your mat. Maybe your fingertips stay on the mat. Reaching that left arm up and overhead. That left sits bones connects to the mat. And then looking up and underneath that left arm. Can you pull that shoulder down your back? Can you release any tension in the side body with your exhale? One more deep exhale. Taking an inhale to prepare. Exhale, taking those arms up and overhead. We're just going to go ahead and forward fold, taking those arms straight out in front of us. Again, connecting those sits bones down into the floor. Getting an opening through the back. Taking a few deep breaths here. Maybe you want to bring that block around and put your head on your block. Or maybe your head just comes naturally to the floor. Exhale, walking those hands back to center, taking them back behind your body, opening those shoulders, rolling them down your back, looking up towards the sky. And then we're going to exhale, come to all fours on our mat. If you want a blanket or anything underneath your knees, you can go ahead and add that underneath. But we're going to go ahead and widen our knees so they're hip width apart. And we're just going to start with a few cat-cows, letting that belly sink down, looking up in front of us, rolling through your spine as you arch that back up towards the sky. So we're just going to take a few of these. Inhale, maybe let that belly sink down. Exhale as you flow through. And as you're doing this, can you spread your fingers wide? Make big starfishes with those fingers. And then we're going to go ahead and find that nice flat back. We're going to take that right leg straight out to the side. And we're just going to shift our hips forward and back, opening up through the hips. So that leg can stay straight. If you're able, maybe that right edge of your pinky toe side of your foot stays flat on the mat. And now we're going to go ahead and draw circles here. So we're going to pull our weight forward, and as we push back, we're going to bend into that right knee. And we're just going to shift around in one big circle here. So we're going to draw our chest forward, and then we're going to push back, opening up our hips. So making these nice, gentle circles, opening up through the body. This should feel really nice. We're going to go ahead and reverse the direction of that circle. Taking one more here. And then we're going to draw that right leg in. And then we're going to take that left leg out now. So left leg is going straight out to the side. Same thing on this side, just shifting your hips forward and back. Opening through the opposite side, checking in. Does everything feel great? How are we doing? We're going to flow a little bit today. So we're getting a nice juicy warm up so we can get into that movement. We're going to go ahead now and draw those circles, pulling our chest forward, bending into that left knee, pushing our hips back. And as you push your hips back, your foot should stay flat on the floor on that left side. So opening side to side with those hips. We're going to go ahead and exhale, reverse the direction. Bringing it forwards. And then we're going to go ahead and come back to all fours. Now just bump those hips from left to right. And we're just going to take that right leg straight back toes curled under. That right leg is going to go straight. Now from here, we're going to cross our right leg behind our left foot, pushing into our right calf. And then we're going to look over our left shoulder towards our right foot. So again, getting a little side body opening and into that right calf. And then exhale, releasing that right knee in. We're going to take that left leg straight back behind us, toes curled under, and then crossing it behind our right leg. Push back towards your left heel, and then look over that right shoulder, opening through that side body, opening through the calf. And then exhale, bringing it back to center. Now from here, we're just going to go ahead and curl our toes under. We're going to come into bear crawl hover pose. So we're just going to warm up the abdominals. So you're going to lift those knees about 1 inch or 2 off your mat. So you're hovering right above the mat. Core is working. We're going to tap our right foot off our mat, and then come to center, and then left foot off to the side. So we're just going to tap side to side. As you're doing this, you want your hips to stay nice and still, like you're balancing a cup of coffee on your low back. Last one, drop down to those knees. Take those toes together, knees out wide. We'll take it back to a child's pose. Forehead comes to the mat, reaching those arms out in front of you. Exhale it back up to all fours. This time we're going to take that right leg straight back behind us. Pull the right knee into the chest. Place that right foot down on the mat. Coming into our first little lunge of the day. So maybe as you're here, we're just kind of opening up, feeling how does it feel in the body. We're going to walk those hands back, straightening through that right leg. Walking them forward. Opening through that hamstring. If you have tighter hamstrings, you can always grab those blocks. And use your blocks to walk and straighten, walk and straighten. The next time that right leg is straight, we're going to go ahead and hold that right leg straight. Chest is lifted, toes curl back towards the face. Pull the right hip back, left hip pulls forward. And then we're going to go ahead and walk those hands forward. Coming to the inside of that right foot, you can keep your left hand on a block or on the floor. You're going to open your right arm up into a twist. So getting a nice gentle twist here. One long line of energy, fingertip to fingertip. And then exhale, framing that right foot. You're going to go ahead and step that right knee back. Now from after this, we're going to go ahead and take that left leg straight back, pull that left knee into the chest, placing that left foot down on the mat. Hips push forwards. And the same thing here, just kind of exploring how it feels on this side. How are our hips this morning, or this afternoon or evening, whenever you're doing this. And then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and either take that right hand to the blocks or to the floor, walking those hands back and forth as you bend and straighten into that left leg. And just noticing how this side of the body feels, because each side is going to be a little bit different. Just checking in. The next time that your left leg is bent, you're going to go ahead and stay there. And then you're going to go ahead and keep your hand on the block or down to the floor. Open up into that twist, left arm to the sky. Pulling the shoulders down your back. And then exhale, framing that left hand on the left side of the foot, stepping that left knee back, bumping those hips side to side. And then we're going to take our first down dog of the day. So pushing those hips up and back. Down dog. Maybe you pedal out those feet, feeling how good it feels in the body. And then we'll find stillness here. You're going to take that right leg high to the sky. Place that right foot between the hands. This time we're going to go ahead and keep that left knee lifted. And you're going to open up into a high lunge, arms lifted up to the sky. So while we're here, we're going to go ahead and straighten through our right leg. Left heel will stay lifted. So you're going to straighten, you're going to hinge forward, and then you're going to bend back in. So we're almost doing a little pulsing lunge. You're going to straighten as you hinge forward, and then you're going to bend as the arms lift up to the sky. If you need to, and you have a wall nearby, you can always hold onto the wall for a little balance, or a chair, or you can work on that balance as you're doing this. The next time the right leg is straight, you're going to hold there. Again, that left heel is lifted. That right knee is not locked, so there is a little bit of a knee bend. So we're getting some strengthening in that right leg as well. We're going to go ahead and bend into that right knee. Hand will come to the floor to a block. Open twist here. Breathing into that body. And then that right hand is going to frame that right foot, stepping it back, high plank. This time we're going to float through chaturanga from your toes or your knees down to your belly. Uncurl the toes, coming up cobra. And then we're going to push back down dog. This time we're going to take that left foot, stepping it between our hands. Keeping that right knee lifted, arms lift up, high lunge. So settling in here on this side. We're going to go ahead and straighten through that left leg, keeping that right heel lifted this time. Bending forward, and then we're going to bend back into that left knee, arms lift up. So we're going to flow through this a few times. Inhale can pull you down, exhale can lift you up. Back leg will stay straight. Front leg will straighten but never lock. We got 2 more. We're going to go ahead after this next one. We're going to hold down the next time that we straighten through our left leg, holding those hands down towards the floor or to blocks if you are tall enough, or reaching to the tall side of the blocks. Left hip pulls back, right hip pulls forward. And then we're going to go ahead and bend into that left knee. Right leg will stay straightened. Open that left arm up to the sky in a twist. Breathing here. And then that left arm is going to frame that left foot, stepping it back, high plank. From your toes or your knees, chaturanga down. Cobra. And then pushing it up and back, down dog. This time we're going to take that right leg high to the sky. We're going to place that right foot between the hands. Spin that left heel down, coming up into our warrior 1. So that left heel stays down, right hip pulls back, shoulders pull in. So from here, we're going to go ahead and straighten through our right leg as we hinge forward into pyramid. This time that left heel will stay down. And then we're going to go ahead and bend back into that right knee, arms lift overhead. So we're going to go ahead and bend and straighten. And I just want you to be really conscious of what your body's doing. So it's not a fast movement. It's nice, and following our exhale is when we want to fold forward. You can hold for your inhale. Exhale, arms will lift back up. Right knee will bend. Hold on the inhale. Exhale, you'll find that movement. So it's a really subtle movement, and it's really working our strength and our flexibility. The next time that we're straightened on that right leg, we're going to go ahead and forward fold here in our pyramid, finding blocks or your ankle or the floor, but trying to connect to something so we're getting into that right hamstring. 3 more deep breaths here. And then we're going to go ahead and bend back into that knee. Arms are going to lift up and overhead. We're just going to take a little open twist here. So that right arm is going to reach back, left arm is forward. Now notice, my shoulder is a little bit tighter. So this is where my arms are. They're not fully back because that's going to torque my back. So this is where it feels good. So you're going to find your version of this. And everyone will look slightly different. Uncurling those toes on your front foot so you're not gripping the mat. And then arms reach back up and overhead. Forward fold down. Spin that left heel to the sky and stepping it back, high plank. From your toes or your knees, lowering all the way down, chaturanga, cobra, and then pushing up and back, down dog. This time we're going to take that left leg high to the sky, place that left foot between the hands, spin that right heel down, coming up warrior 1, arms lift up to the sky. Same thing, taking an inhale to prepare. Exhale, you're going to straighten through that left leg, arms reach down towards the floor. Inhale as you're there. Exhale, arms lift back up to the sky. So once more, you're going to follow your breath and your movement pattern. So each one is going to feel a little different, each side. So you might notice maybe like your right ankle could be tight, and so that could be causing some discomfort as you're doing this pose. Maybe it's your left hamstring is tighter. And again, I always like to say you're just kind of like a body detective. You know, why would that be? What happened on this side of my body? So for me, I can really feel it in my right ankle, but I also jammed my ankle a few weeks ago, and I can still feel it. It's a little bit tender. So it feels really tight as I'm doing this pose. Next time that left leg is straight, arms are towards the floor, holding here in your pyramid. As you're here, pull that left hip back, right hip pulls forward. Taking nice, slow, and steady breaths. On your next exhale, bend into that left knee, arms lift up and overhead. We're going to go ahead and take that left arm back, right arm forward, twisting here. Again, it's not a deep twist, protecting that low back, so my low back is nice and stable right now. And then those arms reach back up and overhead, forward fold it down, stepping it back, high plank, spinning that right heel forward from your toes or knees, chaturanga, cobra, and this time we're going to come through to Sphinx. So we're going to go ahead, pull those forearms through, and we're just going to take a few breaths here in Sphinx. So your shoulder and your elbow should be in alignment, forearms down on the mat. This opens the low back. If it does not feel good, crocodile is the pose to hit. Otherwise, staying here for about another 3 more deep breaths. Try to release tension in the low back. One more deep breath here. And then you're going to go ahead and slowly lower your chest back down, taking those hands beside the chest, curl the toes under, forming one nice straight line. If you can't get up, forming a nice line, here's what I want you to do is push up to the knees and then back to your down dog, or one straight line pushing up and back down dog. Taking one more deep breath here. We're going to take that right leg. We're going to step it between our hands, spin that left heel down, and we're going to come into our warrior 2. I'm going to flip on my mat so you don't have to stare at my backside. But we're going to go ahead and sink down to that warrior 2. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and straighten through that right leg and bend into that right knee. So you're going to bend and straighten into that right leg, finding some movement and some strength first. 2 more here. The next time that right leg is straight, you're going to keep it straight, reach it forwards, and then dropping down into triangle. Left hand goes up to the sky, pull the shoulders down and away, opening through that side body. Two more deep breaths here. And then bending back into your warrior 2, we're going to take an open twist. So you're going to take that right hand is going to reach up and back. We're going to take a reverse warrior. Just kidding, I don't want us to do an open twist. That doesn't sound like a great idea. Sometimes we can change on the fly like that. And then you're going to go ahead and come back to your warrior 2. This time straightening through that right leg, toes turned forward. You're going to be in a wide leg straddle pose. Arms are going to come out to the sides, forward fold it down, hands will come to the floor. So if they're not quite on the floor, grab a block. And from here, I just want us to go ahead and you're going to bend into your left leg as you walk your hands to your left. And then you're going to walk your hands to your right as you bend into your right. So you're just going to walk back and forth, getting a nice side stretch. And you might get a stretch to that inner thigh. Side to side. If you want to hold, and you just want to hold on one side, so you can go ahead and stay and hold, or you can just keep flowing. If you took a hold, you'll go ahead and switch to the other side. And then we're all going to meet in the middle. Hands will come down to the floor, head reaches down, and then you're going to walk those hands to the back edge of your mat. getting a nice deep hamstring stretch. And then we're going to walk those hands forward, right underneath the shoulders. You're going to go ahead and walk your hand underneath your nose, your right hand. Left hand is going to reach to the sky in a twist. Left hand's coming down, replacing the right. Right hand reaches to the sky in a twist. Hips stay nice and still. Both hands come to the floor, and you're going to go ahead and walk your hands to the right foot, spinning so you're at the front edge of your mat in a low lunge. Stepping it back, high plank. From your toes or your knees, chaturanga down, cobra, and then pushing up and back, down dog. You're going to go ahead and take that left leg high to the sky, place that left foot between the hands, spin that right heel down, opening up, warrior two on the left, sinking down into that front knee. And we're going to go ahead and bend and straighten through that left side. So exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Finding your rhythm, finding your pace. Working on that strength. The next time that left leg is straight, you're going to go ahead and reach forward, finding that space, coming into your triangle on the left side. Right arm reaches to the sky. Pulling those shoulders away from the ears. One more deep breath here. And exhale, bending back into your warrior two. And then reverse your warrior. Coming back to your warrior two, turning your left toe to face forward, so you're back in that wide leg straddle pose, but this time we're going to take our heels in, toes are going to spin out, and we're going to sink down into goddess pose. So hands can come to heart center, we're just going to bring little pulses here. So we're pulsing down and up. So opening through those hips, again building that strength. We'll find stillness, and now shifting your weight from left to right. Once more, we'll find that stillness. And more hold here. We're going to lift our left heel up off the floor and back down. Right heel's going to lift and down. So you're going to alternate lifting heel after heel, working those calves. One more each side. And sit and hold. And then straightening out starfish. And then we're going to go ahead and cartwheel those hands down, this time spinning it around that opposite foot, stepping it back, high plank. Now, we're going to hold the high plank for just a second, and we're going to go ahead and do a little core work here. We're going to push back, down dog. Right hand is going to reach back towards the left calf, transitioning back, high plank. Then you're going to push back, down dog, left hand reaches towards right calf, back to your down dog. So we're just going to take a few of these. So inhale brings you forward, exhale pushes you back. And it's not about the depth, but you're trying to keep those hips nice and still. Core is working, obliques are working. One more on each side. And then we're back to that high plank. We're going to drop down to those knees, toes together, and you're going to push back child's pose. So let that forehead come to the mat. Hips will push back towards your heels. Feeling that nice, deep opening through the backside of the body. Letting the weight go down onto the mat. If your head is not on the floor, you can always grab a block and place the block underneath your forehead. And then we're going to go ahead and exhale, coming back up to all fours. Toes will curl under, hips will push up and back. Right foot's going to step between the hands. Now we're going to listen up from here. We're just going to go ahead and stand on up. And we're going to push off our left foot, and we're going to come into a warrior 3. So if you're not going to be able to push right into your warrior 3, you can take a hop and then push into a warrior 3, or you can try to push all the way into your warrior 3. Hands can reach straight out in front of you, to the sides or behind, but we're going to go ahead and push off that back foot, straightening through the right, arms reach forward, finding that warrior 3. Now, while you're here, hips are trying to stay level. So for me on this side, this is always the side that I want to dump into my right hip. So I actually prefer even keeping my left toe down. Because of that ankle injury on my right side, I can feel my left toe should be down right now because I'm struggling with keeping that right hip level. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's basically this feels good to me. Like, do you see how my left hip is really high when it should be, woo, you should not be able to see it. So that's why if you're really doing this, go ahead and just put that back toe down and just try to hover that back toe off the mat. And that's better alignment for your body anyway. 2 more deep breaths here. Now we're going to go ahead and try to keep that left knee lifted. Pull it up to 90 degrees. Hands can be at the sides of your body. You're going to cross the left foot in front of the right. And then you're going to go ahead and take your hands down to the inside of that left foot. So maybe you come to the floor, or if you're tighter like myself, you might want to block here, and you can use the block. And while you're here, you're trying to connect all 4 sides of your feet. So the inside and outside arches of both feet are staying on the floor. Breathing here. And then we're going to go ahead and uncross the feet, standing straight up. Now, listening up here, we're just going to step back into a reverse lunge. You're going to take that right leg back. Left foot's going to be forward, and we're just going to do the same thing only on the left side. So finding that way into your warrior 3 on this side, you're going to push off the back foot. Arms can lengthen to the sides or behind. Now each side is different. So for me, this side, I'm able to keep my hips level and lift my right foot. Now balancing might be still an issue, but I'm able to keep the hips level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Each side is going to be a little different. Try not to grip through your standing toes. Holding here for about another 3 breaths. Core is pulled in. And then we're going to pull that right knee up to 90 degrees. And then we're going to cross that right foot on top of the left. Once more, grabbing a block if you want, and then coming to the inside of that right foot. Getting a nice stretch into that IT band, the glutes. Really depends on where you're tight. So you can try. Maybe you don't feel anything on that side, but you do on the other side. Then move the block to the inside. So it's up to you to kind of see, explore this pose. What feels great? What feels like a good stretch? Two more deep breaths. And then we're going to go ahead and take that block off to the mat. Untwist those legs, hanging out now in a forward fold. Let everything go, hanging heavy. And just kind of shake out the arms, just kind of bend into the knees, shaking it, letting everything go. I always like to do kind of like we're going to do a release. So we're going to stand up, and we're going to go down, and we're going to kind of go, huh, just kind of releasing things. So you're going to reach up to the sky, and you're just going to, huh, and then rolling up through the spine. Arms can lift up and overhead. Huh. Doing it 2 more times. Arms lift up, rolling through the spine. One more time. And then hanging heavy. Taking the hands to the mat, stepping it back to that high plank. This time in our high plank, we're going to take that left leg, we're going to thread it through, so it's going to go right through the middle. And then you might stay here, and you might feel another IT band stretch. So I can feel a little bit through the IT band. If this is too hard up on the hands, you're going to just go ahead and come to your knees, and then you're just going to cross like so, that knee in front of your left knee in front of your right. Now go ahead, if your left leg is extended, bring it back into that plank, come down to all 4s, sit back onto your heels or sitting up tall. You're just going to go ahead and give your arms a break, because I know it's hard on the arms. pose can be. It's a nice little arm builder as well. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch sides now. So we're going to come back to all fours. And then you're going to come back into that high plank. And then we're going to thread that right leg through onto the right edge of the foot, getting a nice IT band stretch. The closer your right foot is to your left hand, the more intense it becomes. But you kind of know your intensity. You probably know this is too much already. And then we'll take that right knee back through. And then once more, sitting back onto those heels. We're just going to do a quick toe crunch because we haven't done those in a while. So you're going to curl your toes under and you're going to sit back on your heels. Oh yes. Hello. I'm just really testing that ankle, I guess. Because I can feel that tenderness. So again, and it doesn't feel bad, it's just like it's opening because it was recently injured. So sometimes it's not a bad thing to kind of get in there and loosen up some of that tissue that might be stuck, scar tissue. Taking a couple more deep breaths. And then we're going to come back to all fours, and we're just going to tap out the top of the toes. Tap, tap, tap. All right, and we're going to go ahead now, and you're just going to swing around and flip on over. So I'm going to have us do a few exercises for the core, but we're going to be down on the floor, on our backs. So we're going to start, though, by sitting up nice and tall. So this is the posture that we're going to be working towards. Arms are going to be lifted, extended straight out in front of you. You're going to roll down. Now we're going to roll down. Feet will come in just a little bit closer to our glutes. Hips will lift up to the sky. So you're coming up into a bridge. Now, I just want us to do a few bridge pulses to reset the spine. So let the hips sink down to the mat, push them towards the sky. We're going to do 3 more. Hips sink and lift, sink and lift. 1 more. The next time the hips are down, keep them down. Arms alongside the hips. Now we're going to raise our hips up to the sky as we take our arms back and overhead. So your hips lift as your arms extend. Everything's nice and tall. And then everything comes back down together. So we're going to be putting this together into a little full roll-up in a second. Now, I would extend my arms a little bit more, but I don't have enough room. I'm running into my stuff in my office behind me. So if you do, your hands can totally hit the floor if that is accessible to your shoulder mobility. Now, what I'm going to have us do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to lift up. As your hips sink down, your arms are going to come to about chest height. Hips will hit the floor. Feet are going to extend about maybe 2 inches away from your glutes. And you're going to try to roll up to a full sit-up. And then you're going to roll down. As your arms lift overhead, your feet will, again, come in about 2 inches. Hips will lift. Hips will lower as the arms come up, your feet go back, and you roll up. We're going to do a few more of these. So we're just going to go ahead and you're going to find your rhythm with it. I'm not going to keep telling you to move your feet, move your arms. I just want you to kind of feel how it feels in your body. Exhale helps pull you up. So as you come up, use that exhale. As you lower, inhale. We're going to do 3 more roll-ups. One more after this next one. We're going to stay up though. Now we're going to stay up and we're going to come into our boat pose. So boat pose options. Boat pose number 1, just sitting up right here. Boat pose 2, you can go ahead and take that foot up. You can keep your arms here and take both feet up, sitting up nice and tall, or arms can extend, legs can straighten. My hamstrings are just super tight, so it does not look pretty. But if your legs can straighten nicely, you can do that too. Hold here, pull the belly in, back stays flat, don't sink into the lumbar spine. And then we're going to slowly lower back onto our backs. Very good. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take those knees, we're going to bend into those knees once more. If you have a block handy, you could do a restorative bridge, which I'm going to demo right next. So if you have a block, you're going to take one of your blocks. If you don't have a block, I'm going to show you what to do. But if you have a block, hips lift up, low back. The block is going to go underneath the low back, and you're just going to let that melt around the block. So you're just going to release anything from that spine. Now, if you don't have a block but you have a pillow, that works. A rolled blanket also can work. Or if you don't have any of the props handy, you can just go ahead and interlace your fingers and just open through the chest. You'll obviously have to help hold your hips up without a prop, but that's okay. Otherwise, that low back is going to have that block underneath it. You'll know you're in the right spot when it feels good. If it's crunching anything, just play with moving it up or down, half an inch. If you have a tight or not so great low back, do it with a pillow. A pillow or a blanket works wonderful. The block can be a little bit too intense for some low backs. Now I'm going to be quiet and let us hang out here for just a second, just to relax. Now I'm going to have us do a little legs up the wall with the block here. So you're going to keep that block there, pillow there, whatever's underneath the low back. If there's nothing, you're still going to do this, only your back's going to be on the floor. So if you don't have a prop, just go ahead and lower down to the floor. Otherwise, bend into both knees, pull them into the chest, and then extend your legs up to the sky. So this should feel really good. It's helping get that blood flow going back towards the heart. So it's a little modified legs up the wall, which you can always do with your legs actually on a wall, but we're not going to hang out here for a super long time, just for a few breaths. Nice restorative pose, especially if you've been on your feet a lot. Go ahead and pull the knees into the chest, and then slowly letting the feet fall one at a time back over the block. Now hips will push up to the sky. Remove that block or pillow, blanket, whatever you had. Pull the knees into the chest, rock side to side on the lower spine. Now I'm going to give you an option. We're going to do a hip opener next. You can do it if staying on your back, if you want to stay here. You'll just go ahead and find your 4-leaf clover, so that left knee is going to pull in to the chest with that right ankle on top of it. So you can see I'm kind of at that hip opener. Or if you'd prefer, you could flip over and come into your pigeon pose. So you can come to all fours and then pull that right knee in behind the right wrist, left leg lengthens, evening out those hips. Maybe you put a block underneath that right hip or a blanket. And then you can kind of find your fold here. Or maybe you want that block underneath your forehead. And then we're going to go ahead and come back up. And then we're going to go cut back to all fours, swinging the hips from left to right. And then you're going to do the opposite side. So if you're on your back, go ahead and switch legs. If you are on all fours, you're going to go ahead and come to that left side. That right leg will extend back, finding that space in the spine first. And then you can go ahead and sink down just a little bit deeper into this pose, resting your forehead on something, either your fist, block, floor. coming back to all fours. And if you are on all fours, you're just going to go ahead and slowly flip back around, coming back to our backs. We have a twist coming up next. So you're going to lay down on your back. Arms are going to come up to a T. You're just going to go ahead and you're going to have your feet on the width of the mat. You're going to let those knees fall to your right. Now you might stay here. You might put your right foot on top of the left knee, getting a little deeper stretch into the spine and into that left quad. You can look up towards the ceiling or over that left shoulder. Gently exhale, lifting those knees back to center. Maybe just kind of shifting the spine, let everything settle on that side. And then you'll once more take your feet the width of the mats, let those knees fall to the left. Maybe you take that left foot on top of the right knee. And looking over that shoulder, looking up to the sky. Release that, bringing those knees back to center, giving them a hug, rocking side to side in that spine. And then grabbing the inside or outside arches of the feet, coming into your happy baby, trying to get those knees and the hips in alignment at 90 degrees. And then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and find your final Shavasana, which maybe if you want to take that legs up the wall or put the block underneath your low back again, have those legs go up. Or if you have a wall beside you, you can always do legs up the wall if you know that pose. Or just lay there for a few minutes. But I invite you to find something comfortable. I will let you know when it's time to come out. Gently start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your ankles and your wrist around, turning your head from left to right. And then noticing which nostril is more open. You're going to roll onto that side. Connecting back into the breath that we started with, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6, doing 3 rounds of that. once you've done that, you're going to gently push to a comfortable seated position. Eyes can be gently closed. We'll go ahead and bring those palms up above our head, bringing them together. Bringing them down to our third eye, trusting your intuition. Bringing your hands to your lips, speaking your truth. Bringing your hands to heart center, knowing yourself. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you. Thank you all so much, and I hope you had a wonderful practice.